Hey guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today I'm going to go through my supplement stack which I've been using on prep. First thing to note is that supplements are an absolute minutiae when it comes to physique development. You don't need to worry about them at all if you're not maximising every other variable, so your sleep, your training, your nutrition. If you're not maximising those things, you shouldn't even think about supplements. Supplements are going to give you the extra 1% if you're really trying to optimise everything. And if you're not doing those things already, then they're basically useless to you. So I'm basically going to split this video up into 3 different sections. I'm firstly going to go over my essential supplements, which I pretty much recommend to everyone, no matter what the scenario is. Secondly, I'm going to go through some supplements which might help you, depending on you as an individual and your needs. Thirdly, I'm going to go over the supplements which are not really that important, but can offer you some benefit if you find that you really need them. So in my opinion, there's only 3 real supplements which I see as essentials for a natural athlete. And those come down to whey protein, creatine, and to be honest, one that might surprise you is blue light blockers. So I don't really know if you can call them supplements, but if you can, I'd honestly say they're one of the top 3 most beneficial supplements there are on the market, to be honest, because the effect they can have on sleep, and we know how important sleep is, can make a massive difference to your progress going forward, basically. So I'll start off with whey protein. I personally use the CMP whey. This one's rainbow cookie flavoured, which is a decent flavour to be fair. So the only reason why I'd say whey protein is essential is because it's going to be very hard to get in a good amount of protein a day from basically whole food sources. I think it's a very convenient way of getting in a complete protein source at multiple meals a day. So I personally have about 80-90 grams of whey protein every single day, just because it's a very easy source and I don't always want a savoury food for my protein sources, and every single one of my meals has protein in. I can add this to oats, I can have it as a shake. Whey protein and vegan protein for that matter are both complete sources of protein. They contain a complete spectrum of amino acids and therefore maximise muscle protein synthesis. So if you are vegetarian or vegan, whey protein and vegan protein respectively can be great options for getting in a complete source of protein, because often in vegetarian and vegan protein sources, they don't contain a complete profile of amino acids, and especially they don't contain much leucine, and therefore they don't maximise muscle protein synthesis. Personally, I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but I do have quite a few clients who are, and therefore I really recommend that to them and make it essential in their supplement list. Next, we'll go on to creatine. So obviously everyone knows how important creatine is and how much research has been done on it. It's basically known as the most effective natural supplement there is. All creatine really does is saturate the amount of phosphocreatine stored within the muscle, and this is basically the primary source for energy during weight training. So very short bursts of energy expenditure, for example, a low rep set of weight training, basically uses the phosphocreatine or the ATP-PC system for energy availability. So that's why maximising your creatine stores within your muscles can have a big impact on performance. And if you can increase your performance by doing that, you're going to grow more muscles. So it's a very cheap and readily available supplement, so I'd always recommend creatine to my clients. And thirdly, the final essential supplement, or you could call it an aid, is blue light blockers. So what blue light blockers do is they block out blue light, as it says in the name, but basically, the reason why you want to block out blue light close to bed is because blue light actually inhibits the ability to release melatonin close to bed. And melatonin is a hormone that helps you fall asleep. Therefore, by wearing the blue light blockers close to bed, you block out the blue light. It also dims the room with its orange tint as well, which really helps you feel sleepy. And therefore, you can get to sleep much more easily due to that increased release of melatonin, and also get more effective sleep as well. So for me, I honestly find that these work so well and they're so effective when it comes to improving your sleep. So I would recommend these to everybody. They're pretty cheap again, and they have a big effect on my recovery capabilities, and therefore I would definitely recommend them and have them as an essential supplement for you to use. So those are the 3 supplements which I'd definitely recommend to everyone, mainly because they're so effective for their price and therefore can have a big impact on your training, nutrition and recovery. The next supplements which I'm going to go over aren't quite as important, but they still can have small benefits when it comes to certain aspects of training and nutrition. So I'll quickly go over them. Firstly, we've got a pump pre-workout. So I personally use Nova Pump Neuro. It's basically caffeine free, but you still get the same cognitive benefits from it as you would do a stim, just without the caffeine intake. So personally, I don't like having caffeine pre-workout. I find that it has a big effect on my sleep the same day. I pretty much limit all my caffeine intake to the morning because of the massive impact it has on my sleep personally. So I don't like using caffeine pre-workout, but that is also an option if you want to use that. Caffeine has been shown to increase performance within weight training, and therefore a stim pre-workout could be a useful supplement for you. But personally, I find a pump pre-workout to increase blood flow, increase my focus within the gym as well, is a really effective supplement for me to use. So the main ingredient used within pump pre-workouts is just going to be citrulline. Citrulline basically helps to increase blood flow and therefore increase delivery of blood to the muscles, and therefore increasing pump within your session, which can have a small effect on performance and metabolic damage, but I wouldn't really think into that too much. The main ingredients in this pre-workout which help with cognitive benefits are basically alpha GPC, L-tyrosine, acetyl L-carnitine as well. So those are a few that can help you, so look out for them within your pre-workout ingredients. Always check out the panel on the back to make sure you know what you're taking in. I would never take a supplement which I haven't researched before, because I don't see the point in that. You should be doing your research to see if it does benefit you. But once you've done that, you can then look for those ingredients within certain other supplements and therefore know if it's going to work for you. On the topic of pre-workouts, we can also go on to caffeine. So I don't know, again, if you want to call this a supplement, but basically caffeine is very useful within dieting phases, mainly because of its appetite suppressant abilities. What I basically do when I'm in a diet is have smaller, lower calorie meals in the morning, and therefore backload quite a lot of my calories around training and for later on in the day as well. And what I do then is have caffeine in that morning window as well, just so I'm not that hungry in that time when I'm having less food. So I'm kind of matching my calories with where my appetite is lower and higher as well, which helps a lot with regards to adherence to the diet as well. Obviously you can use this pre-workout if you wanted to. Personally, I don't, but that will have some small benefits to performance if you do want to have caffeine pre-workouts. I wouldn't recommend drinking the Monster around the gym. I see quite a lot of people doing that, and personally I think that's going to cause a bit too much digestive stress, and therefore I wouldn't recommend doing that. I usually limit myself to 1 Monster a day, just because if I go over that, I do tend to have some digestive stress, and therefore my midsection gets a bit blown out. So I would recommend trying to keep caffeine, energy drinks, artificial sweeteners to basically a minimum amount, so you're not affecting your digestive system basically. So the next couple of supplements are basically for an intra-workout drink. So firstly, I'll go over EAAs. So in my opinion, the only people that I really recommend an intra-workout drink to are for those who are training for a long period of time, so maybe over 2 hours, and therefore their pre-workout and post-workout meals are pretty spread apart, say between 4 and 5 hours apart. An intra-workout drink, all that allows you to do is basically get another serving of protein and carbs within your workout to hopefully spike muscle protein synthesis again, and also help with energy due to the increased amount of carbs intaken within the workout. So firstly, EAAs. This is going to be your protein source within your intra-workout shake. What EAAs are basically a very easily digestible protein supplement, which basically contains a complete source of amino acids, and especially it contains 3 grams of leucine for every 10 grams of protein or 10 grams of EAAs. And what that does is maximize muscle protein synthesis within your session when you might not have had a protein serving for quite a while. So if you're having that big gap between your pre and your post-workout meal, say it's 5 to 6 hours, an intra-workout shake with some protein in as well from an EAA might be very useful. The reason why you wouldn't have another source of protein, for example a whey protein shake or some chicken, is because that's not going to digest very well. And if you are trying to digest those foods such as whey protein and chicken within a session, that's going to draw blood away from the working muscles towards the digestive system, and therefore potentially decrease performance. So that's why you'd have an EAA, which is very easily digestible and therefore will not drive blood away from the working muscles to make sure you're getting that protein synthesis spike without really having negative effects on your digestion as well. Next, within the intra-workout shake, I've got some carb powder. So personally, I use maltodextrin rather than highly branched cyclic dextrin, just because it's a bit cheaper for me and it digests well. The only difference between those two sources is that maltodextrin is going to be a little bit harder to digest, but if it does digest well with you, it's quite a lot cheaper than highly branched cyclic dextrin, so I'll probably go with that. So again, the carb powder is just going to be a very easy to digest source of carbs within your workout, and therefore you're not going to draw blood away from the working muscles. Again, if your workouts are extremely long, a carb powder could be very useful for you because that will basically provide you with more energy within your session. It's very fast digesting and therefore can be used straight away and hopefully provide you with a bit more energy within your sets. However, if you are having a good amount of slow digesting carbs within the pre-workout window, a carb powder probably isn't that important because you're going to have enough energy availability from the carbs pre-workout. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. And to be honest, I've now taken the carb powder out of my intra-workout shake just because I wanted to eat the carbs rather than drink them to help with hunger. But I think in an off season when hunger is not going to be an issue, having a carb powder into workout can also just help you get a few more carbs in if you are struggling to get those carbs in, and therefore can be another tool to get more calories in. So I think carb powder can be a useful tool for those who are trying to maximize performance within training. Next up, we've got Ashwagandha. So what Ashwagandha is, it's basically a cortisol management tool which helps you switch into a parasympathetic state. So to try and simplify this, we basically have 2 states within the autonomic nervous system, a parasympathetic state and a sympathetic state. For the majority of the day, we want to be in that parasympathetic state. The parasympathetic state is basically for resting and digesting. So this is the state you want to be in the majority of the time throughout the day, where you can basically recover from your sessions, you can digest food really effectively, you can sleep really well as well, and therefore you can make the most progress in the long term. What Ashwagandha does is help you switch from the sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state. So the sympathetic state is basically your flight or fight response. So this is where adrenaline spikes, blood pressure spikes, heart rate spikes, and therefore you're in a highly aroused state, which is optimal for performance. So when you're training, you're in this sympathetic state. Therefore, after training, when you want to come out of that and start resting and digesting and recovering, a tool like Ashwagandha can help you to do that. So again, this is going to be a very optional supplement to use. Personally, I only use it post leg days because I find that I can come down pretty easily post push and pull. However, on leg days where it's been a very demanding session, and I feel pretty battered from the session. I do find ashwagandha helps me to flip that switch between the sympathetic state and parasympathetic state and get me recovering a bit quicker. So the final section are basically going to be some health supplements which you can get from your diet and your lifestyle, but having these supplements on top really covers your bases and therefore really makes sure that you are maximising your health. So firstly, we've got vitamin D3. This one's especially important for me or anyone else who's darker skinned, just because in the winter time, because you've got darker skin, you're gonna take in less sunlight and therefore less vitamin D. And potentially you could be vitamin D deficient. So that's why I take vitamin D, especially in the winter months. In the summer, where I'm getting quite a lot of sunlight anyway, you might not need to do that. And if you're light skinned, you might not need to take vitamin D at all. But to make sure you are getting enough vitamin D in, I think a supplement can just ensure that. So vitamin D has a multitude of benefits, from immune health and therefore avoiding disease and infection, to improving your bone health, your teeth health, muscle growth. It has so many different benefits, and therefore it's extremely important that you are getting enough vitamin D within your diet, your lifestyle, or potentially from a supplement as well. Final supplement of the day is a very similar one to the vitamin D supplement. It's basically a multivitamin. Personally, I get quite a lot of fruit and veg in anyway, and therefore I'm probably covering my bases with regards to vitamins and minerals. However, I think again it can just be a useful tool to make sure that you are getting enough micronutrients, vitamins, minerals in, and therefore hopefully maximising your health as well. So that's pretty much all the supplements I'm taking at the moment. As I said before, supplements are going to be the last port of call when it comes to making more progress. So therefore, if you're not maximising the other things before your supplements, don't even worry about them. But hopefully you took some value from this video with regards to what supplements can help and what they can be used for. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. So I'll catch you on the next one.